Joining us now, great to welcome one of the co-authors of a new book, funny book. It's called Spinglish, the Definitive Dictionary of Deliberately Deceptive Language. We're joined by one of the co-authors from up in New York, and he's a talented guy in his own right. He's a author, composer, lyricist, voice actor, and a television producer. He worked on National Lampoon, also on Sesame Street and PBS. We're joined by Christopher Cerf today from New York City. And Christopher, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm great. Good to talk to you, Doug.
You're a busy guy. You have a lot of things going on.
Well, I always have, yeah.
Talk a little bit,
that way.
Yeah, talk a little bit about this book. I know you wrote some previous books similar to it, but this one is kind of fun. It's a dictionary, but it's kind of a funny one, right?
Well, it is funny. It's got a little bit of a serious purpose, but it's mainly designed to be funny and satiric. It's a dictionary of all the language that people use to deceive other people. Politicians, business people, advertisers, real estate moguls, they all have their way of phrasing things to kind of pull the wool over your eyes, or as we like to say, the synthetic fibers over your eyes. Genuine synthetic fibers.
Well, we're heading into actually we're already into it, another political season with the presidential race. So we're sure a lot of this, aren't we, the next year and a half?
I'm afraid we are. That's one of the reasons we did the book now. But, of course, you can use the book to fool other people as well. It's not just to decipher how they're fooling you, but you can use these words to put things over on your friends and colleagues as well.
You mentioned, it's a funny book, but the serious end of it is, we're bombarded every day by so many messages, whether it's advertising or people just telling you things that you know are BS in a way that sounds legitimate. You should know some of these terms. At least you can figure out what they're talking about, right?
Well, that's right. And people do put spin on terms, even when they're more or less accurate. For example, the Republicans tend to call inheritance taxes death taxes because they want them repealed, right. And they want people to think you're just taxed simply for dying, whereas the Democrats call them wealth taxes because they think rich people ought to give some money to others when they die. So this is just the way things are phrased can make them politically very, very different.
You got some great ones in the book. Just a couple of examples I saw. Bad citation, plagiarism, coercive diplomacy. That means bombing, right?
That's right, but doesn't it sound like your country's a whole lot more moral?
It does.
Does coercive diplomacy rather than bombing the heck out of somebody?
Delayering. It means firing middle manager. We've seen a lot of that.
Well, we certainly have. I think we found over 40 words for firing. One of my favorites is involuntarily leisuring somebody. And of course, if you're fired yourself, you can say that you're embarking on a journey of self-discovery, or that you're a consultant. Both of those sound better than unemployed.
Yeah, consultant. That's used a lot by people that are out of work.
I'm afraid so. That's what it means. Yeah.
Well, I guess the English language is a language where it I guess lends itself to having these types of different ways of saying things. I don't know if other languages have that, French or Italian or Spanish. Is that true, or?
Well, they all have some way of doing that, but what's different about English is it's really a combination of two sources that it came from. One is all the Latin words that led to French and Spanish, etc., but also we have the Anglo-Saxon words that came mainly from the barbarians, as they used to be called.
Right.
I'm sure there'd be a politically correct term for them now. But if you want to make something sound, more erudite and less blunt, using a Latin phrase like reality augmentation is a lot better than saying you lied, which of course is more of an Anglo-Saxon term.
I think you're seeing too many people now. You mentioned, politically correct, which has gone overboard, at least in my opinion. These types of phrases are what those kind of folks use to cover bad news or get away from telling the whole truth, isn't it?
Well, that's right. But of course, politically correct language was allegedly created just to be more sensitive. But
right.
Of course, it can be political. It can be political as well.
Went too far the other way.
Well, no question about it. And there are a lot of people that really are like the politically correct police. They just are hoping that they'll use the politically incorrect phrase so they can catch you.
Right.
Right. That's part of the same game in a way. But some of political correctness was really designed to be sensitive. It just became political.
What was your process with you and Henry Beard, I should say, is your co-author on the book? What was your process? Did you just kind of sit down and hammer these out, just spitball it, or how'd you put these together? You got a bunch of them in the book.
Well, yeah, and we didn't make any of them up. That's the amazing thing. As crazy as some of these terms sound, like hands-on mentoring is a term for having sex with a junior employee. You could swear we made that up, but somebody really used that, And
I've heard that one. I've heard that.
Yeah, so we just, when we learned how to spot them when we saw them in the news, they come up all the time. But, of course, the Internet was very useful, too. If you look up scandal or cover-up or misleading language or anything, you find hundreds of these. And we found thousands of them, literally. That's why we made a whole dictionary out of them.
And just kind of collate them and add some funny comments in there as well to go along with the definition, right? But it must be kind of a fun project,
absolutely.
though.
Oh, it was total fun. We were sort of sorry when our deadline came in, we had to stop. But I'm sure that with the primaries coming up now, we're going to get hundreds more and probably have enough for a second edition.
I guess Trump, though, he doesn't use these. He's pretty direct. So the other 15 people you have to look forward to.
Well, Trump is pretty good for satirists like Henry and me, but not for spin. He doesn't use it.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to get any more blunt than calling immigrants rapists or saying that McCain is a dummy. I mean, not much subtlety there.
Well, it's a fun book to read. One of those books, you pick up, read a few pages for a few definitions, and get a laugh or two. How to speak in Spinglish. Spinglish is the term, but the definitive dictionary of deliberately deceptive language. Been talking with Christopher Cerf. I'm guessing you were related to Bennett Cerf. Are you his son?
You're absolutely right.
I remember having the Bennett Cerf books in our house growing up as a kid, the riddle books and the joke books.
Oh, yeah. I had them, too, of course.
And What's My Line? I remember he was the panelist on What's My Line for years.
Oh, yep, every Sunday night at 10:30.
Yeah, great show, which I missed. Those are fun shows. But
well, you can still get it on YouTube.
That's where I see a lot of them, yeah.
Or the Game Show Network, I think, still runs it, but it's like 3 in the morning, so it's not totally convenient.
Yeah, your dad did the weekly show. I was a little before my time, but I've seen those. And then he did some of the syndicated show. That's the one I remember with Larry Blyden back in the
right.
60s
That
and 70s.
was a little bit later, but my dad was a guest on that a few times.
Yeah,
but
great show.
He did the weekly show when it was in prime time. I think for almost 20 years, from 1950 to 1970, something like that.
I think it was on Sunday nights, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
That was a key show on CBS. Anyway, we got off the track there. But Chris, give out the website. People get a hold of the book.
Okay, well, Spinglish, that's SPIN GLISH, is the website.com. The book title doesn't have the hyphen, but the website does. And you can get it at Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com or any independent bookstore should have it. We like to promote the old-fashioned bookstores, too. But you shouldn't have much trouble finding it. It's doing pretty well.
Great. Chris, pleasure to talk with you. Please pass along our thanks as well to your co-author. Hopefully we can talk to you or both of you again down the road for your next book. But thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Doug. It's fun.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.